Welcome back to Turnt Out with Ts Madison on Fox Soul. Honey, my next guest is no stranger to the internet, darling. This gentleman that's sitting with me today has been a very controversial vlogger, has stirred up some tea, spilled some tea, and caused so much drama on the internet, honey, with some of the biggest celebrities. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming to Turnt Out with Ts Madison on Fox Soul, Armon Wiggins.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me on Turnt Out.
So let's talk about how you got here.
Yeah.
How did you make it to be, what inspired you or made you want to be a blogger?
When I was a kid, a lot of people always told me that my personality was so extra. I was always told, you're extra, you're so extra, you're so extra, you're so over the top. And I always thought that was a bad thing because growing up, I always thought being extra is a bad thing. So I would try to dilute my personality. It was one point, it got so bad to where I went to the doctor and I got pills for that. You know what I mean? To try to Vyvanse.
Oh.
I got that to try to make me calm so that my personality wouldn't come across too extra to people, or when I was in class or whenever I would just be in social settings, I would kind of try to dim who I was. And then one day I ended up in Atlanta.
What happened there?
I ended up in Atlanta and I was on the internet actually, and a Ts Madison video came on, and she was reading the girls, and she was talking about, how much this painting was, or whose car note or whose house was on her wall. And I remember you were reading the girls. I was like, who is this? She's a who? You know what I mean? And I was like, I'm gonna follow her. And that was during the time where, I was really in a dark place, and I was living in and out of hotel rooms. It was just a lot. It was a long journey there. And then I would watch your videos all the time. And this is before live, this is before any of that stuff. You would literally pre-record the videos, and I would watch those videos, and I would be like, you know what, she gets me through the day. She gets me through the day. I talked to one of my friends, and one of my friends, she was like, you know what? You need to pick up your camera and just start talking about your day-to-day life and just start doing your videos. And that's what happened. So every day I would just get up and I would just start recording videos about some guys that I met or what was going on in Atlanta, and people loved it. And then the rest kind of was history from
No.
Oh, wait.
There was one video in particular that you made.
Oh, yeah.
When you were in the mall, and this white girl was stealing. Was she white girl or black? Was she white?
No,
or black?
she was white.
She was a white girl, and she was stealing out of the mall. I will never forget this. She was stealing out of the mall, and you had your phone up in the air, and you were running with your phone, running, and you were filming her running, and you were recording live from Cumberland Mall.
And that went viral.
Yeah, I shared it.
Yeah.
I shared it. Now, let's fast forward a bit. We build a relationship, we work together a bit, like a little hosting gig here and there. And then a situation happened. And I adopted you as my gay child because, recording live was a piece of, is it on, honey? Is this thing recording? All of that. And I was on Facebook popping. You was on Facebook popping. Some other girls were on Facebook and stuff popping. And then, in some space and area, you got mad with me. You got very angry with me. And you fell out with me. I never fell out with you. You fell out with me. And everybody out there that's watching, if they see you, they know that you have lots of videos, and you just speak your opinion and your mind and how you feel. And there was a time that, that our friendship was up, and then it went down. And I personally did feel that you were on a tirade of, terrorizing me. And I was just like, I just really don't think that you understand it. And I did think that for a moment that you were on a tirade of a whole anti-Ts Madison tirade. And I was saying to myself, I don't think that he really he doesn't understand how this stuff really works. Because at the time, what really made me kind of fall back or separate myself, which I should have been more vocal, because you were doing lots of commentary on trans people. And you don't really care about the feathers that you ruffle when you ruffle them. And you ruffled a lot of feathers. And even though there were some of the commentary that I agreed with, I was like, no, you can't do that, Armond. You can't say that.
First, let me say this. That is something that, if I don't regret many things in my career or come up or whatever I'm trying to build here, but one of the thing that I did with you, I do regret that. I wish I would have never done that. But I was young, right? I was immature. I was learning. I was trying to figure out. I was trying to really get my bearings in a business where I didn't truly understand it. Now, going back, the reason why I could say I was in that place is because I honestly felt like we were cool. Like, we would sit on the phone, we would talk for hours and hours, and I knew, and I would put in work, and I was doing, and I never really asked you for anything. Like, I never asked, like, come on my show, be a part of my show, anything. I'm a firm believer. I'm not gonna ask nobody for nothing. You know what I mean? I'm dope and I'm lit in my own right. I'm not gonna try to body to get anywhere. I believe what's for me is for me, and I believe that I'm talented enough. When it's time for me to get there, it'll get there. But I can still pour into you.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like we can pour into one another. So I felt like you and I were in a place where we were pouring into each other, and then publicly it was like, oh, I don't really with him. But like I felt like you would be like, oh girl, you'll be my Judy when it's me and you. But then when the rest of the world or when other people is around, you act like, girl, you didn't know me. And in that retrospect, when we were talking about trans people, I didn't understand how sensitive that was, and where I thought I was coming from a logical place. I still didn't understand some of the traumas and some of the issues that community, still was trying to fight through. And me being a member and an ally, of the LGBTQ community, I was doing more harm than I was good, on the grand scheme of things. And so I didn't realize that. But when you talk to me, you like, child, like, the optics doesn't look good when you are out here flaming these girls up, whether I agree or disagree. I can't be aligned with that because I'm trying to go. And once you said that, once you told me that, I was like, why you just didn't say that? I understood that. That makes sense. I'm never gonna tell someone to get out here and dilute or jeopardize their brand for me.
Right.
Because I wouldn't want you to do that to me. You know what I mean? So I definitely get it now. It's definitely come full circle. It's definitely happened to me. And in this business, in this industry, you definitely have to move a certain way. And I also realize there's a time and a place for everything. And so you can't, I just didn't need to be too urgent to try to get somewhere. My time is gonna come.
Well, your time is now, because I'm watching you here, in LA, and I've watched your star rise or whatever, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity for us to fix that. Because you called me, I never blocked your phone number.
No.
And you called me one night and you said, girl, and we ran it for hours.
Yeah.
And after that, I've always, when I love somebody, my door is always open, and so my door was open and we started talking and we washed through. It took some moments for us to get back into, a space. And I had explained to you, I'm not in this space no more. Like I'm just trying to survive as a trans person of color and, with influence. I'm just trying to survive in the space. So, and then we started sharing stories on how you've experienced this and that or whatever. And so you started to understand. But, honestly, Armond, people would say that you do this same thing to your faves. I want to know, because I've watched videos of you lately, because I know that you at one point, because I'm a barb. Mm-hmm. I am a barb, B-A-R-B. And I know at one point that you were a major barb. But as of late, I've been seeing you really giving a real, I don't even know how to say this. Is it a raw opinion? Because from the outside looking in, it looks like that you don't really fool with Nicki Minaj anymore. You don't really like her anymore because the videos are like reading her down.
So this is where it gets interesting.
Because you and Cardi B have a relationship now.
I love her, but let's talk about this. See, this is where it gets interesting for people that do media, right? Now, okay, how could I put this? First of all, I definitely a Nicki Minaj fan musically. Definitely love Nicki Minaj, Barb, whatever you want to call it. I am a fan. I'm a fan of the music. I'm a fan of both girls. But we'll talk about the Nicki Minaj piece first. I'm a media personality. I'm on YouTube. You know what I mean? I'm a blogger to a degree. Some people call me a blogger. Whatever. I have bills, right? And I have to create revenue, right? And so if I like you, right? It's all about relationship building too. So if I like you, Nicki, right? And you have certain stories that come out about your husband and your brother or whatever, right? I may not do those stories.
I never touch those stories.
Right.
I never touch them.
I might not do those stories, right? But when you're getting spammed in the comments, you're biased. Why aren't you not being, you don't have a balanced platform. You don't have a balanced platform. Then perhaps, there's something else that comes out about a relationship that you've been in. Then I kind of give my opinion on it in a way. Then there's a problem. So my thing is, it's not that I don't like people, but understand this. Listen, I have to give my opinion, and people need to understand that us as media personalities, sometimes we really sacrifice a bag to appease people sometimes that we like. And then when people don't appreciate it, you're gonna get off. Because to be honest with you, I've missed out on money not talking about certain things. But if you don't wanna appreciate that, well, girl, I'm not dragging you. I'm just not gonna ignore everything that's coming out. It's up to you. Now, do you want me to ignore, you feel me though? Like, let's just be real.
Recently you were spotted with Kanye West.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a moment. How did that happen?
Well, actually, Jason Lee from Hollywood Unlocked, shout out to Jason Lee. He invited me to the brunch, the media brunch, which, by the way, full circle moment for me. I was so happy to be there because you had people from Foxhole, you've had Amazon, Meta, you had journalists from Ebony Vibe, Essence, BET, and then you had me, the YouTuber. It was a moment to where I'm like, yeah, I'm here, because for a long time, I didn't go to school for journalism. I'm part of the new media, and a lot of people look down on us. Like, oh, you're just a YouTuber. I think Jeannie Mai one time.
New media.
I think Jeannie Mai one time said, they just let anybody, recording from their house get like credibility or something like that. And then that was before COVID, then everybody was recording from their house. But I think a lot of people like try to downplay us YouTubers when you're independent, you don't have a bunch of cameramen. I'm independent. I do all this on my own. You know what I'm saying? And I'm reaching people. So for me to be I don't have a bunch of assistants, a bunch of teams, and my look good. And so for me to be able to sit amongst those type of people, I was like, you know what? It was a proud moment for me. It was for all those times where people was like, you're extra, you talk too much, your personality is too over the top. And I'm like, wow, I'm sitting next to people that, that some may not even think I deserve to be here. But I'm here. I was the only YouTuber in that building. And then there's Kanye West. And so that was a lot. And that moment itself was huge for me.
So my last question for you, Armon, is what's next for you?
Well, what's next for me, honestly, it's just, I'm trying to get out here in these streets in LA, and I want to do hosting. I don't want to tell too much because you got to protect some of your manifestations. But I will say this, definitely getting on stage is what's next for me. Getting on a stage is what's next. And so, and continuing to do what I'm doing now. I'm never in a place where I want to feel like I'm chasing Hollywood. I'd rather Hollywood be chasing me. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not chasing that. Well, I feel like when you start trying to chase that, that's when you start to lose.
Yep.
And so I'm not thirsty for anything. I feel like I've organically gotten here. And so I'm going to be true to myself, continue learning, foster great relationships, but then also be authentically me and keep doing the work. And while I'm doing the work, keep setting up for when the opportunity calls, I'm ready. It's not controversial or drama when you are giving your opinion. And we all like to hear people's opinions. We love it.
Well, there's a difference between opinion and pandering. I mean, that's just what I got to say. Armond, listen, I love you. Thank you so much for being with me today. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Armon Wiggins. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss what's next.